So the Insta-Hot system is a way for us to provide you hot water to fixtures that are further away in the home. You know, there's a few things that factor into that, but typically it's the way the home was piped originally. Sometimes those runs are a long ways from one side of the house to the other from where the water heater is, so it takes an awful lot of time for those for that water to get there. There's two different ways that we can put in a recirculating system or an Insta-Hot system, okay? One is gonna be with a dedicated recirculating loop, which has to be put in at the time that the house was built, typically. And it's a loop that's going to go around the entire house. So whenever the customer turns the hot water on at one of their faucets, rather than having to wait for the hot water to make it all the way around that loop, they're able to get hot water to those fixtures pretty much automatically. Some of these houses do not have a dedicated recirculating loop, so what we have to do in situations like that is we install a pump, a circulating pump, very similar to one with a dedicated recirculating loop. We use what we call a bypass valve. So rather than there being a dedicated loop running all the way around the house, we put a valve at the furthest fixture away, a little crossover valve, and that's actually where it transfers the hot water from the hot water side slowly into the cold water side. In turn, what it winds up doing is providing you with pretty much instant hot water at that particular fixture rather than waiting. The recirculating system does not replace the water heater. In fact, the water heater that you have put in, it doesn't matter if it's a traditional tank water heater or a tankless water heater, it doesn't matter. That's not going to change how fast you get your hot water. It's a pretty easy install. Typically, your average install usually takes about 1.5 hours to 2 hours on an Insta-Hot system. Sometimes a little longer, sometimes a little bit faster than that, but it's typically a fairly simple install. So it depends on the type of system that you have. If you do have a tank, a traditional tank water heater installed or a tankless water heater installed. Some tanklesses do have recirculating pumps built into them already. Obviously, if a customer is calling us about instant hot water and they already have a tankless, they don't have a dedicated recirculating loop put in on that thing. So in some situations with a tankless, an existing tankless, we can get an Insta-Hot system installed. Some of them will not allow for it. With a traditional tank type water heater, pretty much always we can make it work. So typically you're gonna be, you know, depending on the application, you're gonna be anywhere between $650 and around $1,500 on the installation. There's nothing more frustrating than standing there waiting for hot water. Some people are a little bit more conscious when it comes to wasting water than others are. I don't like to waste water, so I would definitely myself much rather have an Insta-Hot system put in than sit there and watch water run for 5 minutes and I'm not gonna be using, so.